Hello, folks, and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party and the March update for 2016. As usual, I will put the important stuff in the beginning within the first 5 minutes, and then kind of the more in depth behind the scenes stuff I'll have after that. I'll give you a warning so the people who don't care about that can just opt out after they get to the important stuff, but people who are interested can continue to listen on. So, first of all, a question for you guys to answer while you listen. How much YouTube do you watch in a day? How much YouTube do you watch in a week? And of that time, how much do you watch is like gaming? Like, 50% gaming, 50%, I don't know, whatever else there is out there. I'm curious how much of YouTube you watch and how much of it is like gaming related. So, now, as far as the schedule goes, obviously, I completely and utterly failed our first month of the schedule. I did not stick to it outside of not even a full week. So it has helped me, believe it or not. I like the path we're going. I like having the schedule, but I didn't do a good job of keeping it up. So this month, I'm going to tone back on the schedule just a smidge, and I'll go over that in just a second. But and it's probably still going to be rocky for a little while. But I do want to have a more consistent schedule going forward. And like I said, it's actually helped me plan things a little bit better, even though it might not have been very obvious from the results of last month. So we're also I'm going to be cutting back videos a bit, but I still want to do at least 2 videos per day. And again, that's, 30 minutes to an hour long videos. So it's still probably actually a little bit more than I used to do. But I want to start focusing on some other things to kind of expand the channel, things like that, that I won't go into at least the beginning part of this segment. But suffice to say, I kind of want to use my time to work on some other things that are still mostly channel related or real life related. But I still want to do minimum 2 videos per day. We might also be changing from Patreon over to GameWisp. I don't know a whole lot about how GameWisp works. I'm currently researching that. But those of you who are doing Patreon or maybe consider doing it, you might want to hold off, quite honestly, until I look at this GameWisp thing, and I'll let you guys know if I decide to go that route, obviously. And, if I decide to stick with Patreon, I'll just update it in next month's video. But there's a pretty good chance that I might switch over to GameWisp, because it's going to allow me to do some things that were not as easy to do by default in YouTube. Now, as far as the schedule, posting the schedule, I don't really have any plans for having it somewhere right now. What I might just do is put it on the About page of my YouTube channel, so you can check that there. Right now, I don't have anything. When I've got something a little bit more solid, I'll put it there, and hopefully I'll get something a little cleaner to look at later on. But anyway, so far as daily, I want to do Black Desert Online every day. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider until it's finished, which I've actually beat the game today. You probably have like a week and a half to 2 more weeks of that Tomb Raider left. And I want to do Blade and Soul daily. However, I'm probably going to change it up so that it alternates. So one day is Kung Fu Master, another day is Force Master, then it goes back to Kung Fu Master. That doesn't mean I'll never have 2 on one day, but the schedule will be to alternate. And if I find that I've got a lot of backlog of one or the other, I might do 2 of them in one day. Once to twice a week, Fallout 4, I'm going to drop it. I know I haven't done any Fallout in quite a while. The DLC is probably coming soonish, so I kind of don't want to get burnt out on it, but I know some people really still look forward to some of that. So I'm going to drop that to 1 to 2 times a week. Let's Tries, I'm keeping that at 1 to twice a week. Don't Starve Together will also be 1 to twice a week. Now, we haven't been able to record recently just because some real life stuff has come up from various members of the group that are recording it. So we haven't been able to record, but we're hoping to start recording again this week. And those of you who have not watched it, I strongly suggest you do, because it's not getting a ton of viewership, but the people who have been watching it really seem to enjoy it, which pleases me quite a bit. Lastly, a hiatus is Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm just no pull to play it, so I'm probably not going to play it anymore. I'm not canceling it, but I want to clear some things out before we look at going back to Metal Gear Solid 5. New stuff for this month. Hitman is being released March 11th. I want to do daily with Hitman until I beat it. Also, possibly the Witcher DLC, the Blood and Stone or whatever it is. The the shorter DLC. I want to get to that this month. Not a promise, but I do want to get to it. If I do start it this month, I will also want to do that one daily. So it depends how long Hitman is. If Hitman's relatively short, I might hop on over to The Witcher 3. Lastly, I'm thinking about doing some more streaming for more of the quote-unquote boring stuff. For example, I might go back and 100% Rise of the Tomb Raider, get all the collectibles, but do that on a stream. Same with Black Desert Online. I might do some of the more boring trade skills like fishing and working on cooking, things like that in a stream, but then stick the recorded stuff to the more action-oriented. I would still put it in the same series so that if you missed the stream but you still wanted to watch me do the site stuff, it'll still be available to watch. But you'll see, oh, this is a stream. This is the more boring stuff. I can skip that so that, you can miss all the parts that you don't care about. So that is the important updates. Went right over 5 minutes. Damn, I always aim for 5 minutes. But so yeah, if that's all you wanted, then you're good to go. I'm just going to talk about some behind the scenes stuff that probably not too many people care about, but I just like to blather on it, and some people are interested. So anyway, thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Make sure to leave comments in the comment section below. So now on to the more behind the scenes stuff. I really, really many of you know I love to put out a lot of stuff. Obviously there's jokes to be made about pumping out subpar or not so quality content, quantity over quality, all that kind of thing. Obviously I do a lot of editing, which takes a ton of time. So I respect that a lot of people do put a lot of time into that. But I hate editing, and I don't like to watch Let's Plays that are heavily edited. That kind of defeats the purpose. As a viewer, I don't like it. So that tends to be the content I focus on too, right? And that's the kind of crowd that I shoot for. So anyway, given that, since I do minimal editing outside of working on sound, which we'll talk about that later on. I just like having a lot of content. I like the idea that you guys have tons of different things that you can watch. So if I'm doing an MMO series, an RPG series, and you're not interested in those, you can watch an FPS. I like having that kind of options. I don't know, it just scratches some itch that I have. But yeah, the schedule that we had was just too much. I really thought I had a handle on it in the first week, but things fell apart. Like this, the minute anything goes against plan, any real life stuff, any new game release that pops up that I wanted to try, or get invited to a beta that I wasn't expecting, or something like that, it throws everything for a loop. As you can tell, like after that first week or so of the schedule, like everything went to hell. Like you had no idea what was coming out every day, which I don't like. So I'm going to tone back on the schedule a bit. We might have to do more. I hope not. But I've also got some real life stuff going on, which is going to require a bit more of my time than I normally have, or that I had to spend. So that's another reason I'm pulling back, so that I can focus on some of that stuff. I still do want to do 2 videos a week minimal. But there was just too many dailies, because we had Kung Fu Master, we had Force Master, we had Tomb Raider, and Black Desert all as dailies, and that doesn't even include the few times a week like Let's Tries and Fallout stuff. So it was nuts trying to keep up with it. But I still do want to drown you in my beautiful content, or my videos, or whatever you want to call it. Just reading through my list here. Personal things, eating up time. Yep, I went over that. Now, as far as variety, I know variety has sucked lately, because we've got 3 MMOs. As far as dailies, we have 3 MMOs and Tomb Raider. And I know not a lot of folks like Tomb Raider, which is fine. And a lot of people are going, well, I'm not interested in watching MMOs, so it feels like there's not much for you to watch. I agree. It's definitely subpar. That's why I'm switching Blade and Soul to be daily, or like daily between the 2 classes, so they're not both eating up daily vids. But one, I've enjoyed both, especially Black Desert Online. I've really, really getting into that one. So I want to do them a lot, just because I'm enjoying them. But frankly, they're also doing very well for me, viewership-wise, and for new subscribers. Obviously, long series don't necessarily bring in new subscribers, but the first videos do. But beside that, I'm getting a lot of people watching them. And that's obviously a good thing for me because I like when people watch my videos, right? So that's a positive thing for me. So that encourages me to keep doing them. So I'm going to keep doing them. And like I said, Black Desert Online is kind of, in particular, really gotten me wanting to play it a lot. So it gives me an excuse to play it when I can make more videos. But I do want to get more variety for you guys. With Hitman coming out, that should be fun. And I would like to finish up that Witcher DLC. The Witcher DLC probably shouldn't take that long. Did I say Bitcher? I feel like it did. The Witcher DLC shouldn't take too long. It's supposed to take roughly 10 hours, which means it'll probably take me 15-ish. But yeah, I do want to knock that out this month. Possibly. Again, it depends on. I don't get the impression that the Hitman is going to be, or the Hitman. I don't get the impression that Hitman is going to be that long because the way they're releasing it, I still don't quite understand how they're doing the Hitman release. I know it's going to be more dynamic and challenges that change every day, but like it's almost like an early access game in that they start off and they're releasing like a few missions, and I think they're releasing more later. Again, I don't really understand. I need to read that a bit more. But the beta did encourage me because it looks like they're returning back to the way they were before with, you get a mission to go assassinate this person and there's multiple ways to do it. And, you can make it look like an accident. You can just go in and blow him away, or you can, learn the patterns and do all this, funky stuff. I love that. That's what made all the Hitman games great. And Absolution kind of threw that away for most of the missions, and this fixes those problems. So yeah, I'm just glad to see it coming back. So I'm going to check that out. That's definitely a higher priority. Other than that, there's not really a lot this month that I'm that interested in. I know there's a lot of releases coming, but a lot of them don't necessarily pertain to me, which is good actually, because like I said, I feel like I'm like, oh god, there's so many games, which is a fantastic problem to have, by the way. There's definitely much worse problems in this world to get stuck with. But yeah, I do want to keep the steady stream of games. And Blade and Soul, as far as long term, how long I'm going to play it, Force Master almost certainly will just be played until I hit the cap with her. And then that'll probably be it. I'm not even going to get the Hong Moon levels. I'm going to get her to level 45, and that's probably going to be it for the Force Master. Kung Fu Master, I'll probably at least try some of the higher end dungeons just to show them off. I don't plan on farming and getting all the best loot and all that. I really do not have any intention on doing that with the class. The game's starting to feel a little shallow. The combat itself is fantastic. I love the combat. And graphically, it looks great. But especially after playing Black Desert, like that feels like that's all there is the PvE content. The PvP stuff I couldn't give two shits less about, which I'm afraid Black Desert's going to go that way eventually as well. But anyway, beside the point. But I do want to show off some of the higher end dungeons with the Kung Fu Master. I don't think it's going to be a long running series though. Like once I kind of do a few dungeons, it'll probably be like, okay, well that's pretty much it for him. Warlock, a few people have asked me if I'm going to play Warlock. It looks interesting, but again, with so much other going on, I think I'll burn myself out if I just keep going through the leveling process with multiple classes, especially because there's no variation in where you level. It's always the same lands, always the same quest chains in the same order. I think I'll end up getting burned out if I do another class. So that includes Assassin as well and other classes that I might look at. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I would put the probability pretty darn low, quite honestly, for it to happen. Even though the Warlock does look fairly interesting as a class. Black Desert Online, I would actually like to stream that game some more. I kind of want to get to where I'm streaming more often. Maybe not a lot, maybe like once a week to start with. Maybe pick one day a week and that'll be streaming day. And that's where I work on my Let's Try. Or I do, like I said before, where I try to 100% a game that I've already finished, like Rise of the Tomb Raider. Or Black Desert Online, I work on things like fishing and cooking that's, not necessarily fun to watch in a Let's Play style. But when I'm recording it, we've got chat going and I can kind of go back and forth with them. And again, I'll still put it in the series on YouTube, but we'll see how that goes. I'm still kind of thinking about that. Last thing I think that I want to talk about is technical issues. I've been working with a sound engineer to try to have him show me some of the sound stuff that I feel like I should have known a long time ago because I've never been happy with the sound. And I'm still learning, but I feel like I've learned a lot already. And hopefully that translates into better commentary audio for you guys. I'm also, since I moved into the office here about a month or two ago, you may have noticed there's a little bit of reverb. I think I fixed that mostly. I've got like curtains and totally ghetto style. I have an old comforter nailed to the wall to try to cut down on a lot of the reverb. And I think that's helped a lot. I'm going to like put sound foam type things up on the wall to cut down on that as well. I might also be buying a more expensive mic to improve quality, because I think commentary audio quality is really important. So I really like to continue to focus on getting that better. But of course, that takes time of fiddling with it. So that does take away time from recording. That's one of the reasons why I'm toning back on how many uploads I do. I'd also like to find some, what I guess you would call them, attention getters, the subscription getters, where like they're not necessarily a long-running series, but they're maybe shorter, more edited videos that it's easier to link. It's either just to kind of watch if you don't want to watch the whole game, just some of the highlights, the funny parts. One thing I think I could be pretty good with, just because I feel like my kind of derisive negative humor can be funny in if I'm playing like a bad game or just a silly game. Like I had that one video where I played that game, obviously aimed at younger girls. It was like a dating dress up type game or something like that. I think the commentary was pretty funny on that, and I got good feedback on it. A lot of people saying they wanted to see it, they liked it, but they wanted it to be edited, which I actually agreed with. I think it would have been better if I'd edited it. So I'm looking at some possibilities along those lines of some things to kind of draw folks in. The video that I did, and I didn't do this to draw people in. I did it just because I wanted to talk about it. That video I did about Black Desert Online, talking about the market prices, that did way better than I had anticipated. It's got 5,600 views on that video. Definitely better than I had thought it was going to be. But again, I did it just because I wanted to. I just wanted to talk about that topic, and it just so happened that a lot of people wanted to watch it. And of course, a lot of people didn't like it, but I think we can guess why. A lot of people just blatantly disliked that video. But anyway, more stuff like that, not just Let's Play. I don't plan on ever stopping Let's Plays. I love doing them. I love unedited Let's Plays. I love to watch them. I like to do them. But there might be just less of that as I focus on new ways to get folks in, because especially these days, more people like edited content generally. I don't like to do it, and it will probably, I'm not going to say never, because you should never say never, but I don't really want that to become the focus of the channel, because one, it's not content that I generally enjoy, and two, frankly, I really hate editing videos. Like, it is painfully boring to me to do. It's like the most excruciatingly boring part of doing everything. Even the minor editing I tend to do, it can get really boring fast. I don't know how people do it, because my eyes start to roll back into my head and my tongue lolls out. But anyway, so you might see a variety. I might try some series, see what takes off, what doesn't, etc. Any ideas, of course, would be, definitely willing to listen. But anyway, I think that's enough rambling for today. Thank you guys for continuing to watch. I really appreciate it. Make sure to leave comments. And again, don't forget to answer that question about how much YouTube you watch in a day and a week, and how much of it is game related. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.